The Zohar also writes that along with the written Torah and the oral Torah, Moses was also given a secret wisdom. Hello and welcome back to the Christian Kabbalah channel. I'm so happy you're here. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button. We're trying to bring this information to as many people as possible. Your participation helps us as we do that. So before we continue on our exploration of the Gospel of John, we need to make a small detour and we need to address a particular comment that keeps coming up. And that comment is this: Kabbalah postdates Christianity by about 1,000 years. Meaning that, of course, Christianity came about through the life of Jesus about 2,000 years ago, and that Kabbalah only came about 1,000 years after Christianity, and therefore it is impossible that Jesus taught Kabbalah because Kabbalah came well after Jesus did. This misconception came about simply because academia and Kabbalah have two different origins of the wisdom itself. Academia attributes the Zohar to Rabbi Moshe de Leon, who they say wrote the Zohar as a pseudo-autobiography, and he attribute the authorship to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who according to Kabbalah is one of the most elevated Kabbalists of all time. The reason why academia attributes the Zohar to this time frame is for mainly two reasons. This is according to Daniel Matt, professor at Berkeley, and he has said that the Zohar is a 11th century or a 12th century text because, number one, the Zohar was not written about until that time. That's number one. And number two, to a third-hand account of the wife of Moses de Leon, who reported that it was he that wrote the Zohar and not Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
We know this from a medieval source. It's really a third-hand story, so we can't necessarily accept it as true. Kabbalists came from the land of Israel. You claim that you're copying from a book that was written a millennium ago in the land of Israel. I come from the land of Israel. We've never heard of this book. Moses de Leon said, meet me at my home in a few months and I'll show you the original. But by the time the man came to Moses de Leon's home, Moses de Leon had died. Look, your husband promised me that he would show me the original of the Zohar from which he copied. And his wife replied, I can't show you any such manuscript because my husband, quote, wrote what he did from his own mind.
This is the reason why academia says that the study of Kabbalah is a relatively recent phenomenon. Kabbalah, though, teaches something different. It teaches that this wisdom existed before the creation of this world. It also teaches that the first person that was able to tap into the wisdom was Abraham the patriarch. The next person who really brought down the wisdom of Kabbalah was Moshe Rabbeinu, or Moses. The Zohar also writes that along with the written Torah and the oral Torah, Moses was also given a secret wisdom, which encapsulates the wisdom of Kabbalah. Now, let's be clear here. The reason why that Moses did not teach the wisdom of Kabbalah was simply because the people were not ready to live and embody the wisdom of Kabbalah. And as a result, the written Torah and the oral Torah were then given to the people so that they might be able to adhere to those teachings. And so the Kabbalists write, once humanity arrives at a place where they are able to live and embody the true secret teachings of the Old Testament, or the 5 books of Moses, then the wisdom of Kabbalah would be revealed to the world. According to the Zohar, the light of Kabbalah was handed from teacher to student in an oral tradition kept relatively secret for thousands of years until Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, according to Kabbalah, was one of the most elevated souls that has ever lived. heavenly permission was given to Rabbi Shimon to take the light of Kabbalah, or the light of the Zohar, and to transcribe it into a written book that is the Zohar. Seeing in with the story of academia, the Zohar was revealed by Moses de Leon. It wasn't until about 400 years later, around the 16th century, that two major develops in the study of Kabbalah occurred. The first of which happened through Rav Isaac Luria, who is known to Kabbalah as the Ari. And the Ari took the Zohar and basically reformed it, or changed the form of Kabbalah and made it more accessible. Now, with that said, if anyone approaches the books of the Ari, you will find that they are still incredibly difficult to pierce. And in fact, some of its writings are basically like computer code. It's very, very difficult to understand the writings of the Ari because they themselves are still a coded message. That said, around that same time, there was another rabbi known as Rav Avraham Azulai, who declared that the study of Kabbalah should be taught to all peoples, even as young as small children should be accessing and learning the wisdom of Kabbalah. The next great Kabbalist in the lineage of Kabbalah did not occur until around the beginning of the 20th century, or the 1900s. And that is when Rav Yehuda Ashlag, who was the founder of the Kabbalah Center, who was given permission to take the wisdom of Kabbalah and to write it in a way that everyone could understand. This was such a huge and momentous occasion in the study of Kabbalah because up until that point, it was very, very difficult to pierce and to understand the writings. The Zohar is a coded book. According to Kabbalah, the Torah is a coded book. And then we had the writings of the Ari, which were again a coded book. And so therefore, in order to be able to understand and pierce it, one needed to be taught from someone who understood the different codes. But with the arrival of Rav Ashlag, that was no longer the case. And if we go back to the reason why Moses did not teach the Kabbalah to the masses, is because humanity was not ready for it. So with Rav Ashlag making Kabbalah an easily understandable wisdom, what this simply means is that humanity is getting more and more ready for the wisdom of Kabbalah, to live it, to embody it. Rav Ashlag's greatest teacher was Rav Brandwein. And Rav Brandwein's greatest student was Rav Berg. Now, after Rav Brandwein's passing, the Rav Berg met his wife Karen, and together the two of them took this wisdom, which had been only taught and learned in a closed-door setting, and they brought it to the world. And they removed any restrictions that had previously been and made this wisdom completely accessible to anyone who wanted to learn it. Please note, there were always major Kabbalists and people who learned and taught this wisdom. Among them, of course, are the Baal Shem Tov and Jesus. But these are the souls who brought this wisdom and transformed it, taking it from a completely esoteric teaching to a wisdom that is now easily accessible. So, if you are interested in how Kabbalah will complement your Christian walk with God, there are links in the description box for introductory classes and more information on Kabbalah, and maybe through them you can find how Kabbalah will bolster and support your walk with Jesus, your Christian walk. So my friends, this concludes this particular video. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Please stay tuned for the next video where we will go in depth on the next verse of John 1:4. I appreciate your support. Have a great day. I'll see you guys all in the next video.